Welcome to The Secrets of Success. By following the proven techniques of the guests who appear on this series, you'll learn that even successful people run into detours and failures, and how you can apply their success techniques to change your life.
You're now listening to the most unique show on radio, the show dedicated to making you a success. If you're tired of spinning your wheels and wasting time, listen to what our guest, Stacey Hall, has to say. Stacey, thanks for being with us today.
It is a joy to be in your studio. Thank you so much.
Stacey, you've written I love the book, a great book, I think, Selling from Your Comfort Zone. But you say right at the beginning of the book, your comfort zone is your power zone. And did I misread that statement? Because it seems it's always the other way around. We're supposed to avoid the comfort zone.
People would love for you to believe that. That is true. I don't know why. I don't know how it got started, and I don't know why it continues. So, no, you're absolutely right. I believe our comfort zone is where our power lies. And if I ask you, Bill, where would you say you feel most comfortable? You would say in alignment with your core values, right? Your core values give you a place to know yourself.
Exactly. Yes.
Your skills, your strengths, your talents are what you own as well, correct?
Okay, sure.
Okay, so what if there was a place where our core values, our skills, our talents, and our gifts all live within us, and that's the comfort zone?
I love it.
Okay, good. Well, that's what I'm saying. Well, because inside that comfort zone is where we draw our power from. And folks who tell us to get out of our comfort zone, if you ask anybody, well, where is that? Where do you go to get out of your comfort zone? What happens when you leave behind your strengths, your skills, your gifts, your values? What happens when you leave that? What are you left with?
Not much. I'm in my weak zone, to be honest.
Exactly. And it doesn't take, I love that you picked that up right away. And most people do. It's like, well, wait a second. Yeah, why did we ever buy into the fact that getting out of our comfort zone means we're strong and brave and courageous and able to conquer? No, it doesn't. And it's why so many people spin their wheels, like you said, trying to figure out how to find themselves outside of their comfort zone. Being in the comfort zone does not mean lazy or weak. It's the exact opposite.
I love what you're saying, but doesn't this go against what everybody pictures when you go for a sales job, or if you're in sales training, that they will tell you, oh, you have to make, 300 calls every hour, or you have to visit 10 different clients each day. You have to be pushy. You have to be aggressive. Keep calling back, send them a letter, do a follow-up.
Well, yes, it goes against that. But what's to say that we're not more able to do what we're good at and to feel good about it, coming from a way that feels right for us? If the goal, so somehow and listen, I say in the book, I grew up with a father who went into sales because everybody said he was good with people. He was good with people. He wasn't good being pushy and salesy and spammy and all those things that salespeople literally have now become tagged with. Every survey, you say, what's the definition of sales? Being pushy and spammy. And that's very sad when we help people make their lives better. I digress. Let's go back to your question. If the goal is to make sales, and everybody is unique. That's what we keep hearing. We're all unique. We all do things in certain ways. We all have different backgrounds and we all have different skills. Then why is one way the only way to get to the goal? It doesn't make sense. Why can't I have my way and Bill, you have your way? We'll figure out how to get to that goal. But when somebody trains me to stop being me, what I wind up becoming dependent on is them, their script that I'm supposed to learn. And then I show up in front of somebody inauthentic, more in my head than I am in my heart. And this is when I share this with sales trainers and salespeople, they all go, yeah, why have we put up with this? I don't know.
And I'm
not going to.
I know from reading your book, this isn't just a theory. It actually works. And it makes
works.
Life easier for us. It, of course, makes life easier for the employer because they're saying, wait, we're getting great results and Bill or Stacey is doing a great job, so let them do the great job that they're doing. So it's a win-win for everybody.
I believe it is, and there's so many people that could list from Sam Horan to Russ Devant to Stephanie Oden, Coriani Baptist, Carla Archer. Let's see, Jim Britt, who many, many people know is a great sales trainer who's been teaching these principles for a long time. It's not like I came along and went, hey, I've got this brand new idea. I've had this idea since growing up and watching my father be miserable. And when I went out into business, decided to do it differently, do it my way. And thank goodness I had employers who were willing to employ me to sell this way, my way. Along the way, using this word way a lot here, but here we are along the path, I met a lot of other people who are very successful. But you know what? They're not flashy. They're not flashy because that's not their way. We see the flashy ones, we see the pushy ones, and I'm saying that is their way. They're comfortable doing that. And they teach people that that's the only way to be successful. And all I'm saying is it's not the only way.
Now, Stacey, you mentioned something before about alignment, and I know you have a concept in your book, alignment marketing. Could you explain what that is?
Right. It is the process that we go through, each of us, to identify what is our comfort zone and how do we use it to make sales and make connections with people who are aligned with us. So they don't have to have the exact same core values, but their core values are similar to ours. And in the book, I do provide exercises on how do you identify your alignment, and then how do you identify people who would be aligned with you, not just in core values, but there's also has to be an alignment between me and the company I represent, me and the products I represent from that company, if they're not my own products and services. And then who is likely to be aligned with me, my company, and my products and services. And so that's the first part of the alignment marketing formula, getting into alignment.
What tells us, if we're sitting here listening, and I'm thinking of someone right now, they're in their car, they're hearing this, they're saying to themselves, maybe this is why I'm not doing well in sales or why I don't like it. What are we looking for? How do we know if we're out of alignment? What tells us?
Oh, you see, I don't have to teach that. Everybody I've ever asked, when I say, do you know when you're feeling bent out of shape? Do you know when you're feeling like you're reaching the breaking point? Do you know when you're not feeling like you're in integrity with yourself? Right, Bill? I mean, to ask that question, people know it's a feeling. The problem is that they aren't taught often how to get back into alignment. And so what I'd love to do, if that's okay, is give a couple of ideas here.
Sure,
like I share
exactly.
In the book.
Yes, please.
Okay. So the first place is when you think about, let's go straight to selling. When you think about selling your product, are you selling what your company tells you to sell in the way they tell you to sell? Or have you found your own personal story, your own reason why you love selling this product? If you don't have your own personal story, so for example, why am I selling from your comfort zone? Because my personal story is I grew up watching a dad who went out every day after listening to the tapes and the sales training, feeling strong, I'm going to go do it, and coming back dejected more often than not. So I figured out how I was going to sell for other companies and then now for my own coaching services or consulting services. I have a reason I'm passionate about what I sell. Without that passion, we do not have credibility, because without passion, we can't have empathy for our prospects. When they tell us their problems, it becomes a more logical response than an empathetic response. And you're nodding. I know people can't see us in the studio. Bill's nodding.
No,
you know what I'm talking about.
Because I'm thinking of it, if I'm trying to convince you about something, if I can say I've taken a medicine or I've used a certain exercise tool or a special tennis racket or golf club, I'm going to be enthusiastic about it, because if it worked for me, I'm hoping it'll work for you for whatever the medical problem or athletic problem might be or whatever you're looking to achieve. So it makes sense.
Right. And in business to business, if I've had, let's say you're selling copiers, which my father actually did for a period of time. Everybody's had frustrations with copiers. We all have. If you've got your own personal story of that, there's somebody's going to listen to you more than if you're going off a sales sheet. Well, this copier does this, and this. It's like they can read that. They can get that from the company website. Can we be somebody who understands the problem and is willing to be open about the fact that we felt exactly the same way or experienced the same problem? Now, I'm going to be honest. Doing it this way makes us more vulnerable. And some people don't want to be vulnerable. They want to be able to hold on to a script, and that's fine. That's their way. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But more and more in this day and age, we hear about it all the time. People want jobs. They want to do things that feel like a calling and a purpose for them. That means they want to open up. They want to be vulnerable. They want to talk about what's important to them. And more people, the statistics are showing, are leaving sales because companies are not giving them the opportunity to align in a more personal way with the products and the services. And they don't like that.
Stacey, before we learn more about selling from your comfort zone, I'd like to let our audience know, if you're just tuning in, you're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan. Today, our guest is Stacey Hall. Her book is Selling from Your Comfort Zone. And Stacey, we're going to ask you, one, where we can get the book, and if there's a website where we can learn more.
Absolutely. So to get the book, it's on Kindle, it's on Audible, it's in paperback, wherever books are sold throughout the world. If it isn't on the bookshelf in your bookstore, it's because somebody bought it before you got there and they can order it for you. And for more information about me and this process, if you go to my website, you click on courses. So it's Stacey, Stacey, and ANN, Hall, HALL.com/courses. The very first course is free, and it's called The 8 Steps to a Sale. And I give you a way beyond the exercises in the book to actually craft your strategy to get from beginning to a sale.
We always tell our audience, if you want to be successful, it's great that we can provide wonderful authors, great books, and speakers on the show, but it's up to you to take some action. Now, Stacey just told you how to go about that. We're going to ask her for that information again later on in the show. And also for our audience, please remember that if you didn't hear the entire show, you can go to nccradio.org. That's nccradio.org, and listen to a podcast of the show. The title is Selling from Your Comfort Zone with our guest, Stacey Hall. Stacey, one of the things I really liked in your book, and it certainly empowered me as I was reading it, you mentioned that when we're selling, working literally from our comfort zone, and that's our power zone, we exude confidence. We have the feeling that we know what we're doing, and people want to deal with us, be around us. And of course, again, that makes sense. Who do we want to be around? Confident people. People who appear to be successful, seem to have a successful life, and I guess to use the expression, seem to have things all together. And this will give that to us. Am I correct?
Yes. Now, I'm not saying it's going to solve every problem in our
Oh, no,
life.
of course not. No.
But when we're entering into a relationship where we want to sell something to someone else, I like to think of it like being at a party. So, and especially now that social media has made it so much easier to meet people. In fact, just today I heard Twitter's even creating groups, which is so cool. To me, it's like the social media platform is the party. And maybe you know a couple of people already at the party, but the idea is you want to go and meet more people that are like those people. So in real life, you go to the party, you chit-chat for a little bit with the people you already know, and then you start looking around. Who else is there? Who looks friendly? Who looks happy? Who looks like they're on the wallflower standing off to the side? Who's the one that's bending everybody's ear off because they never let anyone else get a word in edgewise? We do this in person all the time. Well, in the book, I teach you how to find easily the people you want to talk to and who will want to talk to you, and how to be that person that people want to come to you and find out more about what you're up to and what you're doing, and even how to speak to them to begin with so you don't turn them off.
And even if we're not in sales, and many people may be listening to the show aren't, although they perhaps will be in the future at some point, or some part of their job will involve that, don't we all really want that? We want people to come up to us. We want to be the source of information, whether we're a consultant, a doctor, a lawyer, an accountant, an architect. It doesn't make any difference. It's nice to be that person that people want to talk to and trust their advice and what they have to say. You had an expression in the book, the rubber band effect. What is that, and how does that apply to this?
Bill, I'm loving the questions you're asking. Thank you. The rubber band effect, because I put that in there because I will still have people say to me, okay, fine, that's where I'm at right now, my comfort zone. But don't I still have to get out of it at some point to grow? No, it's elastic. Our comfort zone grows as we grow as people. And so the rubber band effect is like a rubber band, right? A rubber band is not made of cement. It's made of rubber. It starts with one shape, and you can slowly and gently expand it to be able to still be useful at a bigger size. There does come a point, though, where if you expand it too much, it breaks and it's useless to everyone. That's called being bent out of shape or reaching your breaking point. And so we're the same way. There will come a point where any more growth will not feel comfortable. It will be too much. It will be too big a stretch. And so what we want to do is we want to gently expand the comfort zone to its greatest circumference of power.
Now, when we think of sales, we think of going into a meeting. Someone's going to train us a bit. Maybe it's a few hours. Maybe it's a week. Maybe it's go out with a top salesperson and see how they do it for a few days or weeks or months. But you talk about core values. Can you give us some examples? I think I mentioned to you before, I think you have a giant list on page, I think it's 26 of your book. Can you give us some examples of some of the core values that we might take on or be interested in, and how we work this into our sales approach?
Absolutely. As definition, of course, I am not telling anybody to have these core values. It's just in case somebody's like, well, I'm not sure I know what a core value is. Could be determination, could be integrity, could be environmentalism, could be family. Those are the kinds of things, is when you think about what do you believe in so strongly that you could be unshakable in your belief, that becomes a core value. The what you hold to be important is what I mean by that. So yes, in the book I give a whole lot of descriptions of core values that people have shared with me. Boldness could be one as well. But it's up to each of us to identify them, and identify them in the order in which they really are important to us. And in any given moment, if I ask somebody, what are your top three? They would stop for a moment, because I do this all the time. If I asked you, you'd stop for a moment, you'd think about it, you'd be able to tell me your first one, your second one, your third one. What doesn't happen enough, for many, many reasons, is we're not thinking about those first thing in the morning. We're not thinking about them when we sit down at our desk to start our work. We're not thinking about how they tie in to the phone call I'm about to make, or the social media post I'm about to share, or the message, the connection request I'm going to send out. If we did, we would discover that we have our own way of communicating, and how we put out communication so that we get back what we would like to receive back. And Bill, if it's okay, this is a little theoretical, so I'd like to give a more specific. Would that be okay?
Oh, absolutely. Yes, sure.
Okay, so I'm on LinkedIn. I have an account on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn profile is very fully developed. In other words, you know exactly what I do, why I do it, who my audience is for. It's all there. All you have to do is take a moment, look at it, and it's public. You can follow me and read all of that. So the other day, and this is really true, I'm not embellishing this at all, I receive a connection request from somebody who says he's a book publicist and he would like to help me promote my book. Now, he doesn't use the title of my book. It's a very generic message. I wrote him back. And also, if you've gone to my profile, you would see that it's already been #1 in 2 categories, and it's very well promoted. And I have a newsletter. I am doing a lot of things already. So I wrote him back and I said, what could you do that's more than what I'm already doing? Because I'm already working with a publicist. And if you've gone to my profile page, you'd be able to see what I'm doing. And I kid you not, the reply that came back was a copy and paste of the exact first connection request.
It's sad that the person had achieved their goal. They got your attention, but they couldn't even take the time to give you a decent answer or show that they knew something about you.
And I don't know if it was set up as an automatic response, but why would you do that? If you're making connections with people, why have an automatic response? Maybe if you're doing a Facebook ad, but when you're sending an actual proactive connection request to me and I respond back, that's exactly it. This person is so set on his script that he's not interested in aligning with me. He's not interested in seeing what I've done or considering what more he could do for me and showing me. Thank you very much. Not my publicist.
He just lost a potential client.
You sure did.
Stacey, before we go any further, again, I'd like our audience to know that if you're just tuning in, you're listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan. Our guest today is Stacey Hall. She is the author of Selling from Your Comfort Zone. And Stacey, we're going to ask you again if you can tell us where we can get the book and a website where we can find out more information.
Of course, on Kindle and Audible. Paperback is available anywhere books are sold, online or in person. And as I mentioned before, if you go to your bookstore, it's not on the shelf. It's probably because somebody purchased them. It's all sold out, but they can order more in if you ask the manager to do so. And then regarding where you can get more information, I would like everybody to be able to have access to what I call the 8 steps to make a sale. I refer to them in the book. I spell them out in a special video recording I made. And if you go to staceyannhall.com/courses, COURSES, and it's Stacey, STACEY, ANN, Hall, HALL.com/courses. The very first one there is absolutely free to download, 8 Steps to a Sale.
And Stacey, you brought out something in the book. I always like numbers, and you mentioned that something like half of the salespeople would be better off selling a different product. That's a lot of people when we think of all the salespeople we come across in our daily lives. And they're selling the wrong product because they're not doing what you say in your book, which, again, makes a lot of sense. It's not something that goes against the way we would normally think. So could you talk about that a little bit?
Absolutely, Bill. And of course, I didn't do that study. It was either HubSpot or another one of the large sales organizations. I was doing research for the book and my jaw dropped. And of course, I give credit for that statistic in the book. 55% of all the respondents said themselves they felt they were selling the wrong product. Well, how does that happen? What, did somebody make you do it at gunpoint? I don't think so. I think they wanted a job. They didn't think to start with about what would make them happy selling. And maybe at the time when they got that job, it was hard to find jobs. I'm going to trust that maybe most of them had a hard time finding jobs. But in this economy, we keep hearing there's plenty of jobs. And truly, sales companies with sales departments are having great difficulty keeping people. And if you don't want to work for a corporation, there are tons of direct selling companies that have, they have no limit on the number of people that will come on board with them, because as long as you buy the product, you're a salesperson for the company. And so I spend a lot of time in the book talking about how to match your passions to things you could sell. Because I find that oftentimes people they're just looking straight ahead and not broadening their comfort zone to, like, if you're passionate about working out, there are tons of things you could sell for corp companies or for yourself. Nutritional supplements, fitness equipment, gym memberships, all sorts of things that you may never have thought you could sell, but they're just waiting for you to sell it if you love to work out and keep fit and stay healthy.
Stacey, to your point, a few weeks ago, we had someone on the show. They started their career as a teacher. They loved teaching, but they recognized they weren't good in the classroom setting. So they went into a lot of other businesses. And to be honest, they told us they failed at like 5 of them. They were related to teaching, etc. But what the person finally found, she loved tutoring over the internet. Now she is literally in the millionaire category and doing wonderful, obviously, and controlling her time and doing something she truly loves rather than kind of fighting her nature by being a teacher. So what you say makes a lot of sense. And I think for anyone in our audience, take a look at the book, Selling from Your Comfort Zone. If you're maybe a little dissatisfied or a lot dissatisfied, Stacey hits at the points and you're going to say, oh my gosh, it's right there, right in front of me. And Stacey, once again, we want to ask you, where can we get the book? And please tell us that website.
The book is available on Kindle, Audible, paperback, wherever books are sold throughout the world, mass distributed to every bookstore. My website, staceyannhall.com/courses, COURSES. The very first course there is free, and it's called the 8 Steps to a Sale. So if you want to go through that first to see if you want to buy the book, please do. But once you finish the book, you're going to want to go there and go through the 8 Steps to a Sale, because I walk you exactly through how to get yourself set up, how to match yourself to something to sell, how to tell people about the fact that you're selling it in a way that's not pushy and spammy, how to introduce them to you without them having to spend money to start with, then what to sell them, how to present the offer, so that you're asking for the sale, where to meet these people that you want to be talking to, and ultimately how to close the sale.
Stacey, thank you so much. And to our audience, if you want success, go out and follow Stacey's advice. What do you have to lose? Thanks so much for being with us today. We'd like our audience to know that you've been listening to The Secrets of Success on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC. I'm your host, Bill Horan, asking you to please join us again next week at the same time when we will continue our journey to success.